What's up, everyone? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. So we've got big Jerome Powell announcements and speeches and testimonies coming next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. These are going to be hours long, and he's going to be at the semi-annual monetary policy report to Congress. And both Tuesday and Wednesday, Jerome Powell and I think Janet Yellen's also going to be there. So we're going to be doing a live stream, of course, so listen in on what he has to say. And then in this video, I wanted to go over the technical analysis on some of the big tech stocks. I know you've been asking for a video on technical analysis for a long time. So I've kind of revamped some of the charts. We'll be talking a little bit about the longer term trends, weekly, monthly charts on some of the big tech companies like Apple, Amazon, Tesla. I'll see if I can put the timestamps down below so you can quickly scan through different stocks here and what the technical analysis is leading up to this big week. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it helpful. If you do, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also make sure that you also check out the Discord and the Patreon links down below if you're interested in joining us. And again, there's a 16% discount that's available for a limited time, and you'll get access to all the buy and sell alerts, options alerts, swing trading ideas, and not to mention private videos and tutorials and educational content for members only. So link's going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. So first things first, this right here is going to be, again, the testimony at 10 a.m. Eastern from Chairman Jerome Powell at the U.S. Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. And this one's going to be the U.S. House of Financial Services Committee. Both of them start at 10 a.m. Eastern, both on Tuesday and Wednesday. And we've also got the Beige Book coming out, but I will be doing a separate video going over the upcoming week with earnings and economic data points coming out because it is going to be a big unemployment week for the markets. Now, I wanted to go over, obviously a lot of few stocks here. So let's just start with Apple, and we'll be talking a little bit about weekly and monthly charts here. I'm not going to be diving into the technicals of the daily chart, but instead show you guys the overall trend and how these stocks are performing and which way I'm leaning a little bit more on the technical side for the coming weeks for these stocks here. So you have a good sort of analysis to make your own investment decisions or on trade decisions based on some probabilities and risk management. So this right here is the overall Apple chart right now. So what you'll notice is that we have been kind of following along with this very strong higher low line, which Apple's been validating for quite some time, since pretty much 2019, 2018, so Q4 of 2018, when Apple pretty much declined, a little bit over 37%. Bounced off of that level. This right here was the pandemic, so March 2020, 34%. And right now, from its all-time highs, Apple pretty much came down 32%, down to that ascending support, that higher low, and then bounced right back up. So what we have right now for Apple, especially on the weekly chart, is obviously this right here was a higher high and higher low pattern, very consistent uptrend. And since then, we've just been in a downtrend since January of 2022. So really the bottom line is, for a lot of stocks, what you'll notice is that we had a very strong uptrend prior to January of 2022. And then most of the stocks here started declining. There's been some form of lower highs and lower lows for these stocks, right? So whether it's a straight down, such as Meta, PayPal, Netflix, or it is a more steady and stable move down in terms of lower highs and lower lows. So for Apple, consistent lower highs and lower lows, and right now it's coming up to its lower high once again. So this is the downtrending channel, as you can see that I'm pointing out right now, and we are definitely getting up to our lower high at the moment. That's going to be sitting right over here. And again, if you kind of map this out really well, so you can see lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. That's where we are. So considering that, we've got a big resistance for Apple sitting roughly at 157.50. So if I zoom in a little bit, you'll notice that this is a big resistance for Apple sitting right over here, 157.50. And the reason why that's so important is because there's a confluence, right? So what we look for when we do technical analysis, and not just one indicator, not just one area, but we look for confluence levels, right? Confluence is more than one indicator coming together, and support resistance coming together to kind of base your thesis off of. So the reason why 157 is such an important resistance to watch going into the upcoming weeks here is because not only do we have that lower high inside that downtrend, but we've also got this previous resistance sitting at 157 from October of 22. So this right here is a level that we're talking about. If for any reason Apple gets a very strong breakout on heavy volume, then the next resistance is going to be the one to watch at 177. That's going to be the level to watch, kind of coinciding with this previous level. Also this right here, and pretty much the all-time highs. So pretty strong resistance at 177 for Apple. But right now we've got, of course, 157 to watch first. That's going to be the level to watch for Apple. And RSI, MACD, pretty neutral, so we're not quite overbought or oversold here. But in case Apple decides to pull back, a very strong support and a dip buying opportunity or a long trade idea is going to be setting up at 137. That's going to be that higher low that I showed you guys earlier. Now going over to the next stock, and that's going to be Amazon. And Amazon here also has a very similar trend, not so much as Apple, because prior to January of 2022, it was pushing higher. So you can see that from March 2020, it rallied a little bit over 126% from its 2018 lows. It rallied over 183%. So it did push higher, but for the most part, it was mostly trading sideways, right? So we were seeing a lot of consolidation sideways for Amazon as opposed to being pushed higher. It was mostly trading sideways. And then, of course, it had a pretty steep drop here ever since January 2022, right? Ever since this bear market started. So Amazon is, for the most part, right now also in this downtrending channel. It's a little bit more steeper than what we saw for Apple. So still lower highs kind of tagged at this level right here. That's the red line you see on the chart. Very, very strong resistance area for Amazon at those prices. And we've also got this lower low sitting right over here for Amazon. Not to mention, we've got a very strong support at $80. So $80 is in fact a very strong support because we have found support here in the past quite a few times. And right now, Amazon is bouncing off of that level. We pretty much got up to that 300 simple moving average, and this lower high got tagged at that level in the last week of January, first week of February. And since then, of course, Amazon's pulled back 20%. And right now we're kind of like in this middle area. So if Amazon decides, okay, it's going to start to push back up, and if you do see some more momentum, the highest level that I could see it get up to right now in the short term is going to be sitting roughly at 109 to 110, kind of in line with this lower high. That's the level to be paying attention to for Amazon from a technical area standpoint, and support level, very strong support sitting roughly at $80 for Amazon. So this right here, a very strong area of support to watch for Amazon. Talking next a little bit about Google. And Google, we do already have a potential swing trading idea. Last week, it was up over 5%. So congratulations to all the members. Again, if you want to get access to all the trade ideas and alerts and options alerts, all that stuff, the links to our Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. But Google, for the most part, had a phenomenal 2022. From 2020 to 2022, it rallied over 209%. In 2021, actually, so it didn't have a phenomenal 2022. I take that back. In 2021, Google had an exceptional year, up 63%. But of course, after January of 2022, it's just been selling off here, very similar to what we saw for the trend on the weekly charts for Apple and Amazon. This right here was a rally. This right here post January of 2022, and a very nice consistent downtrend of lower highs and lower lows. But it's now coming down to a very strong support. So now it seems a little bit more stable, a lot more exhaustive selling pressure, meaning that we're not seeing a breakdown sub $85, $88 per share, right? So this right here inside that green rectangle, lots of buyers present at the level. This is the same level where we were back in December of 2020, so just about 2.5 years ago. And right now, Google seems to be validating that support. Every time we come down to that level, Google seems to have some buyers step in, 23% upside here. This right here was a rally of 28%, which is exactly why I have a trade idea on Google, expecting more upside and at least getting up to $100, $105. That's going to be a 17% upside from low 80s for Google. So that's going to be the level to watch. Again, that lower high is sitting at roughly 105, 100 to 105. Support level is going to stay put at roughly $85 to $80. That's the range within which we can trade this stock right now. Talking about NVIDIA right now, so ticker symbol NVDA, and NVIDIA is a beast, to say the least. And right now, this right here is going to be that higher lows coming in since 2018, 2019. And of course, NVIDIA has had phenomenal gains of over 900% since 2018 alone. So this, again, higher lows. We did a little bit overshoot that level here back in October. So we kind of broke down, further below 120, came down to that 300 simple moving average. But since those levels been hit, I mean, NVIDIA's, again, more than doubled, over 123% gain here. And now you can kind of see that we're coming up to our higher highs. This is the first breakout of its higher high, since August of 22. So this is the line that I'm referring to first. And if it does get rejected, of course, a pullback would be expected. However, this is a shift in the overall trend, right? So we're now shifting that trend, because what you'll notice is that for every stock that I mentioned, they were all in a downtrend, right? They're all still in a downtrend. Apple coming up to its lower high on that downtrend. Amazon, Google coming up to their lower highs in that downtrend. But for NVIDIA, things are a little bit different, because this was a rally prior to June 2022. January 2022, excuse me, January of 2022. This right here was a sell-off during the bear market of 2022, starting in January. And now what you'll notice is that we are once again in this uptrend for NVIDIA. So it's not so much of us being in that lower high and lower low pattern anymore, but instead NVIDIA has broken out. It's shifted its technical direction pretty well. And, now we're coming up to that lower high once again. So if NVIDIA decides that it's going to start to pull back a little bit, the lower low, or in other words, the higher low, confusing myself, the higher low is going to be sitting right over here at 157. That's going to be a potential 33% drop, but it's still going to keep the pattern intact within an uptrend of higher highs and higher lows. Now, in case NVIDIA starts to overshoot a little bit on the upside, considering that the RSI is also getting up to over 72, so definitely getting up to overbought levels, and so is the MACD, so it's certainly an overextended stock without a doubt. If it starts to overshoot a little bit more, the next resistance at $288. This right here is going to be that level to watch. That's going to be in line from its previous resistance from back in March of 2022. So we have gone rejected here. And you can see how good of a confluence that is. Lower highs and that previous resistance. And that is going to be that next level to watch in case NVIDIA overshoots to the upside a little bit more and continues to be overbought and overextended. So the stock that everybody has been waiting for, and that's going to be Tesla. And Tesla here has been in a downtrend as well. It's kind of like a widening wedge pattern for Tesla right now. So there's a couple different resistance levels to watch. Number one, we've got a pretty big resistance at 220s. So this right here is going to be that level to watch inside that red rectangle for Tesla, all the way up to this lower high that's in line with this widening wedge that we have going on for Tesla. We've also got a pretty good bull flag formation for Tesla. So it's been consolidating sideways for the longest time. In the last 4 weeks, Tesla's just gone sideways in that consolidation. So we'll be paying attention to that as well. And resistance really is going to be staying put at 220. In case Tesla breaks out from this bull flag breakout, then the next resistance is going to be that lower high, sitting roughly at 270s for Tesla moving forward. But at the same time, RSI MACD neutral. However, the valuation is a little bit on the higher end, but this video is not going to be covering valuations, strictly technicals. So definitely I'm leaning a little bit more towards the bullish side for Tesla if that support roughly in the 180s holds up. And if you potentially get a breakout on higher volume above 220s, I could easily see Tesla in the 270s moving forward. But that's the potential setup that we have going on for this company. Talking about Meta platforms, and Meta here right now also coming up to its big resistance, sitting roughly around 185. So this right here, again, a level that we have gone rejected a couple times, towards the end of January, beginning of February. We had a very strong symmetrical triangle, and then since it had a very strong breakout of 70%, and now getting up to that resistance for Meta. So 185, very strong resistance going into the upcoming weeks here. If you get another breakout here past those levels, we've got a very, very strong level of resistance for us sitting roughly at 230 to 237, 240 levels. And the reason why that's so important is because we've got both the 200 and the 300 simple moving averages sitting right there. And we've got a previous resistance from about April of 2022 sitting at 237 for Meta. So, definitely there is potential upside here. There is momentum behind the stock, but we're definitely getting up to a big wall of resistance here for Meta. So how much upside is left from these levels? I can't be too sure, but I'm definitely not super confident with a potential breakout past 237 in the near term, considering how much resistance is going to be there for Meta. Talking a little bit about Netflix now, and Netflix here on the pattern here, it's been performing really well with these higher highs and higher lows. So this right here is the overall chart pushing up over 107%. And you can see that Netflix obviously had very strong years since 2018 till 2021, very strong momentum to the upside, and then one sudden drop of last few earnings, it pretty much dropped and plummeted over 70% from its all-time highs. And then since, it's done a very good job in kind of recovering really well. A much smaller, much shorter, much narrow uptrending channel as opposed to what we saw back in 2018 to 2021. This right here is the overall channel. Netflix right now coming up to its higher low, so there is potential upside here. So again, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the bullish side for Netflix for a potential rebound here, considering how much it's been selling off in the last 4 weeks, down 18-19%. But resistance is going to stay put at roughly 375 for Netflix at the moment. And we've also got a slew of moving averages and previous resistance levels for Netflix sitting right there So we've got the 200 SMA, the 300 SMA, we got the previous resistance, we've got the higher high. So lots of resistance sitting for Netflix in the 380s to $400 per share. Last but not least, we got Microsoft, and Microsoft I also wanted to cover, and Microsoft is also in this downtrend. So once again, you can see that Microsoft had a very strong uptrend here prior to January of 2022, very strong momentum. And then obviously it shifted that direction to the downside, making lower highs and lower lows. And right now it's coming up to its lower high once again. So what we have right now is Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, more specifically Apple and Microsoft getting up to their lower highs. So that's going to be a resistance level. But then on the other hand, we've got, and of course, NVIDIA. NVIDIA is also hitting that lower high or higher high in NVIDIA's case because it's shifted that technical direction. But Tesla, it's got a bull flag formation, so potential bullish setup. Google getting a reversal rebound here, considering how much it was oversold. The same thing with Amazon as well. They're both still in a downtrend though. And then talking a little bit about Netflix, still in an uptrend, a very nice uptrend, but coming down to its higher low for a potential reversal there. So a little bit more leaned towards the bullish side for the technicals. So let me know your thoughts on these individual stocks here. Wanted to go over and break down some of the technicals for these companies. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, make sure that you drop a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you like some quick technical breakdowns like these so you can better plan out your trades. Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll do probably more and more videos like these. As always, happy investing, and I'll see you all in the next video.